The one thing that every homeowner should know about a recession. A recession does not equal a housing crisis. I want you to hear that again. A recession does not equal a housing crisis. Let's dissect the definition of a recession and let's look at some historical data. Everywhere you look right now, experts are warning about us heading towards a recession. And if true, an economic slowdown doesn't mean your home will lose value. Hear that again. If in fact we are heading towards a recession, it does not mean that your home will lose value. What's the definition of a recession? Well, the National Bureau of Economic Research defines it this way, and I repeat, a recession is a significant decline in economic activity spread across the economy, normally visible in production, employment, and other indicators. A recession begins when the economy reaches a peak in the economic activity and ends when the economy reaches its trough. Between the trough and the peak, economy is in expansion. Now, to help us show the impact to home prices and how home prices don't fall every time there's a recession, let's look at historical data, because history does in fact repeat itself. There have been 6 recessions in this country in the last 4 decades. So 6 recessions across 40 years. And in that time frame, going all the way back to the 80s, home prices have appreciated 4 times and depreciated 2 times. Hear that again. In the recorded history of recessions within the last 4 decades, there have been 6. In those 6 recessions, home prices have increased 4 times and they've decreased twice. So historically, there's proof that when the economy slows down, it doesn't always mean that home values will fall or depreciate. Of course, many of us remember the economic meltdown of 2008, and we fall back to that to understand where the future may bring us. But if we look at the history, it would tell a different story. In the 90s, home prices dropped by less than 2%. It happened again during the housing crisis in 2008 when home values declined by almost 20%. But those were the only 2 times that home prices have fallen during a recession. We do remember vividly the housing crisis in 2008, and so that's why so many of us are feeling that sting right now and feeling that if in fact we do head into a recession, that certainly our home values will fall. But I'm really hopeful that we'll deeper reflect on the history and feel more confident that just because we're heading into a recession doesn't mean that the home values will crumble. Bottom line, this housing market isn't a bubble that's about to bust. We're not in a recession in the country currently, but if one is coming, it doesn't mean that homes will lose value. History proves a recession doesn't always equal a housing crisis.